The name of the next segment is Deep Space Babylon 59. We're finally getting back to this. And I want to warn everybody, Eric and I watched these episodes a whole week ago, so we're going to do our level best to reach back into last week and talk about these shows. And that's going to be somewhat difficult because these are not the most memorable episodes we'll be talking about, and this will probably be the shortest of the segment that maybe ever, but at least so far, and probably for a good long while. Where do you want to go first? Do you want to knock out If Wishes Were Horses real fast, or do you want to do the Bab 5 episode first?
I don't really have.
Do you have any preference?
Yeah, I don't have a preference.
Let's go ahead and do Bab 5 real quick then. So the episode in question there was Grail, which features one of my favorite actors of all time, David Warner, in a role I feel like was perfect for him, as sappy as it might have been, and I think he elevates the material quite a bit.
It also features a guy whose name escapes me, but he is in Blade Runner. He's J.F. Sebastian in Blade Runner. He is the mob guy.
Is that who that is?
Yeah, yeah. He's he's the guy that makes the toys in Blade Runner. He's also the guy who...
is this the Jigsaw guy?
No. This is the mob guy that he owes money.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that guy's
I thought you meant a mob guy in Blade Runner, because I'm not immediately picturing the character you're talking about.
No, he's the guy that the androids hang out with that makes the toy people.
Oh, okay.
He's also in X-Files.
Now that you say that, I know exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, okay. All right.
He's also in the X-Files episode where the ATM tells him to like kill people. He's that guy.
Yeah.
Which I think is called Ghost in the Machine.
Yes. That's first season. We actually watched that together.
No, we didn't get to that one yet.
Have we not?
We did not.
Oh, okay. I must have watched it recently enough that I'm remembering it, which is weird because I don't remember X-Files that well most of the time. We're going to do some X-Files on Primetime Crisis eventually.
At some point.
But anyway, so again, it's been a while. Help me set this up a little bit. I remember that we've got a guy who thinks that he is kind of the destined cause of the destruction of the Babylon stations.
He worked on the construction of all of the Babylon stations, and they all, when he left them, something happened. They exploded. This is the first time.
Moments after he leaves.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
Where did Alexa get Alexa?
Destined?
Maybe. Weird. Anyway.
Not moments. One of them was moments.
You should be able to like tell it to shut off, but then you couldn't tell it to turn back on again.
The first one he goes on vacation. The second one he goes on vacation. The third one
of them it is moments though. We're like, isn't it four?
It's
like
four,
as he's traveling
because
away?
he talks about seeing it like warp into nothingness, which I think is the first time that we talk about the fact that Babylon 4 didn't get destroyed. We don't know what happened to Babylon 4. It's just gone. And so he worked on Babylon 5. The big leap in logic that I didn't understand was, well, when they were making Babylon 5, I had to work on it. He's like, but then I couldn't leave. And I was like, why did you have to work on it?
Yeah.
Why did you have to be there? Unless he was under contract, because that's what he said.
Yeah.
I think for 3 was like, well, I was still under contract, so I had to. But he's afraid if he leaves,
if he's been there the whole time, like, I
explode.
know the station's huge, but it's weird we haven't seen him anywhere.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird he never pops up.
But everyone does call him Jinxo and acts like they know who he is.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
but it took me a while to get to realize that, oh no, he's lived there the whole time.
Yeah. And he owes money to the mob guy who was in Blade Runner. And that guy has a creature that is dressed up like a Vorlon, sucking people's brains
and pretending
out.
to be Kosh specifically.
Yeah, because
we
that's
have a fake
the only
Kosh,
Vorlon on the station. Yeah.
I think they do a good job faking you out, making you think potentially maybe it really is actually Kosh, but it's weird that he's never talking because Kosh does say stuff.
No, he does talk. That's our first when we find out like, oh, it's not Kosh.
Oh, but initially he's silent. Like
yes.
It's a scene or two later.
Yeah.
But also one of the big tells is, or what I think is supposed to be a tell is that it's clear that he's being rolled around like he's on wheels. But the problem is, I hate to say it like this, it's a cheap enough show that I could have seen that happening on accident. Where it's like, oh, they wheeled him on, but no, it actually is supposed to be because it's a fake Kosh. Cheap's not fair, but you know what I mean. Like cheap's
not fair. It's
just
the low budget.
Yeah, low budget.
Yeah,
because Kosh is visually brilliant. I mean,
no, he's a
one
great
of the best things
costume,
and I love that character. So far, I mean, I don't know a lot about him yet, but I get so excited when he's there.
No, Kosh
I made a joke about like the hour of murdering or something.
Oh yeah, and he kills it.
The fake Kosh, yeah, it was
the hour of brain sucking. While this is happening, David Warner shows up, and he is the last in a long line of people seeking the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Who has now taken the search off-world, which is a really interesting notion that...
It must have left. Is it just because we never found it on Earth, so it must be out there somewhere?
No, because the way he explains it, because when you first hear it, it seems like, well, it's not on Earth, it must be somewhere else. But the idea is, we've done so much trade with all these different civilizations, it is in fact possible that someone had it and traded it to an alien civilization.
Right, sure.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And he talks about it as, like, almost understanding that he's never going to find it.
Yeah, I like the idea that
it is the journey.
It's tradition. It's more about the journey than it is about the actual discovery. And I'm never positive that, because I mean, he's a real principled guy. He's very much a wise sage kind of character, and he seems to be as much about setting an example as he is about actually trying to find the thing. I'm not convinced he even thinks it's out there. Like not just that he might not find it, but like, is there even a Grail anymore? Like he's operating as if there is, but I don't think it's important whether or not it's actually there.
You know, it's just about the quest and the example that it sets. And we also know that. That the Minbari think it's really important. They make a big deal. Delenn shows, and then the cold open is Delenn being like, "There's, like, why are you not waiting? He's gonna be here. Like, you didn't tell me that someone important was coming." And then it's just this guy who says he's looking for the Holy Grail.
It's cool because so many of these species are all about these ancient artifacts, and so they look at us with one, and we don't actually have it. Like,
And so he takes he takes the Jinx guy under his wing, and kind of starts mentoring him and takes him under his protection.
He's the only guy that believes in him.
And then through the course of events, David Warner dies, and the Jinx guy takes over as the new last seeker of the Grail. And then one day, boom. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow,
boom!
But one day, boom!
I made that joke, and then he says "boom," and I was like, "Who was it? Was it?"
It's the girl. It's Ivanova.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Because that seems like a thing that you would have Londo say, but I don't.
No, it's because she's Russian and she's cynical. So she's like, tomorrow, boom. Maybe not tomorrow, but one of these days, boom.
And then, of course, I guess that's foreshadowing because.
Well, yeah.
Eventually, the station will explode.
Well, and we got an episode or two back.
I don't know much about this show, but I know that it ends with the station blowing up.
Well, yeah. Well, and an episode 2 back, we got someone who sees the future saying that the station is going to explode.
Does it? I mean, don't tell me too much, but does the show end with that, or is it that it explodes and then there's a season after that? I can't remember.
No.
Because isn't there like a big climax and then there's a whole season of kind of aftermath, or
yeah?
Isn't that? I feel like you told me like 4 is like the brilliant season, and then.
Halfway through 4, he doesn't think he's getting a season, so he starts wrapping everything up, and then they're like, actually, you're going to get another season. So it does not blow up in 4, I don't think. 5, I've
watched it a long time.
Yeah. I've seen seasons 1 through 3 twice. 4 and 5,
so it's like Reverse Angel.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like if they said you're not going to get a season 6 and then Angel gets renewed, right?
Yeah, yeah. And so, I'm pretty sure that it doesn't blow up to the very end.
Anyway,
there's also a time jump at the end in the last episode.
Weird. Okay, all right,
it's the whole thing.
But yeah, that's that. I don't have a lot to say about it. I was kind of indifferent towards it.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. I really enjoyed David Warner's performance. I thought that idea was really interesting. I would have liked to have, he's another one of those characters that I would have loved to have stuck around for a while, but.
There's a group of characters that will get introduced later called the Rangers, and I kind of wish he was tied into them somehow, because that would be nice, but...
There's not any major revelations or anything in this episode. I feel like
it's pretty skippable.
Already. Yeah. As is the Deep Space Nine episode we watched, which is not just skippable, but you ought to.
It doesn't make any sense.
The end, yeah.
Sorry.
So I have not been looking forward to If Wishes Were Horses. This is one of those episodes that... And I had this with a couple of things in Star Trek where I always remember it happening in a different place. So I kept waiting for it early on, and then I forgot about it because we never got to it. I thought If Wishes Were Horses was like 5th or 6th episode, and now that you've seen it, you can see why I would think that. Like, it feels like one of those really silly, rompy episodes you do to remind the audience that you have a sense of humor while we're trying to get to know these characters that feel a little dry because we haven't fleshed them out enough yet. And
16 episodes in, we're in the same place.
It's weird because in some ways, and we've already had that episode, right? That was Babel. We've had that. And Babel, as goofy as it is leaps and bounds above this. And we've already had Move Along Home. Like, there's a lot of silly...
And those have better internal logic than this
even, which is not good at all, even is another of those kind of comedy, rompy episodes.
Yeah. All of them have better internal logic than this episode.
So, this one...
I feel like I could just replace everything I'm going to say with internal logic, internal logic, internal logic, internal logic.
This episode, the word of the day, kids. The word of the day is, so... O'Brien is telling Molly the story of Rumpelstiltskin, which he's told her 1,000 times, and she loves that story for whatever reason, and then suddenly Rumpelstiltskin actually shows up, and he doesn't believe Molly when she says, hey, Rumpelstiltskin's in my room, but he's actually there, but it actually comes from O'Brien's imagination and not hers, which I think is really weird. And then throughout the episode, we realize that the big, weird gimmick created by some kind of space anomaly is, it doesn't matter what it is, trust me, it does not matter, the big anomaly thing, or whatever the anomaly is, creates this weird scenario where people on the station are conjuring up physical versions of their imaginings, and so Cisco creates an ancient, see what I did there, baseball player, and usually I can remember his name. It's not coming to me now. He comes up here and there. He's
it Joe
throughout. No. It's I'll think of it. It's an M. But anyway, and then I guess the third big one is fake Jadzia Dax, who's kind of the sex kitten that is constantly trying to get O'Brien to sleep with her, because Bashir to sleep with her, because that's what he
the
wants.
version of her that Bashir would have in his head in his alone time thoughts.
Because he can't get her,
which is not a fair representation. See, this kind of bugged me. It's not a fair representation of how he views her as a person. That's a very different kind of fantasy than what if he was just thinking about if they were in a relationship.
Because she's all submissive, and we talked.
Yeah,
about
it's entirely sexual fantasy, and that's not a fair way, I think, to base on how he views her as a person.
Because I thought that Jadzia was really mature about it at first, where she's like, "Well, I completely understand. You're alone with your own thoughts." And I loved the bit where she was like, "I was a man once. Like I know what that's like." And so she's able to be more sympathetic with both sexes.
And then it immediately says something, and she's like, "Never mind."
Yeah, and it becomes kind of sitcom territory where you kind of expect the laugh track to make fun of like the guy that's being berated by the woman because he thinks like guy thoughts about girls, and I'm with you. I don't think I don't buy that that's really how he would want her to really be, and the episode throws him under the bus by at the end making him too interested in her well-being when she's just a figment of his imagination, and she hasn't come alive for us in any way. She's not a real fleshed-out person. She's half a dimension.
And we don't mention the fact that the real Dax is standing like right there.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be all, like, heart-wrenching and stuff when she's bleeding out and dying, and you're like, but she's a figment of his imagination. So anyway, the big twist at the end, I guess, is that all these horrible things that seem to be happening to the station are actually happening, because that's also somehow or rather imagined by people, because the episode can't decide if the imaginings are just manifestations of characters or if it's events that happen. It seems really inconsistent about that, and there are no rules here.
And we have they're also, you don't ever get a second one. Everyone seems to have one imagination, and that is what it will stay. One of them is emus.
Some disappear, for some reason, that have some hilarious alien name that Odo keeps saying, and I love it, and I can't remember what it is, but I love it.
But three of them...
ones that keep disappearing? Like, I thought that was really weird. We have, like, the blizzard, and then it goes away.
Oh, yeah, and then there's no blizzard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird. But then three of them are
alien...
they're the ones doing all this.
Yeah.
Why did they need to infiltrate as imaginations?
I don't know. And what exactly is their in-game? I know what it is. They're just explain. It's just another way of explaining. They're the Cytherians again, but in this other one, right?
It's the
But if they were exploring specifically psychology, that could have been interesting. Where it's like we chose these based on things that are in your imagination. But I feel like it's kind of random.
No. What it is it's that thing of trying to make something really alien where they don't have imagination. Right. And they're fascinated by the idea that we all have imagination.
Right.
And they're like, maybe we'll tell you about it next year. And I asked you if they come back the following year.
And they don't.
And they do not.
Well, and I think that was just supposed to be like a fun, clever thing because baseball's in seasons. Like, I think that's all that was.
Oh, is that what it was supposed to be?
I think so. I wouldn't have said year. I would have said season. But then that gets weird because TV is in season.
Yeah, no, I would have assumed that it was telling us this is going to be a thing we're going to do.
Yeah. It's not. Or if it was, they abandoned it because it's terrible.
Oh.
I don't know. This gets into that problem we have a lot in Star Trek, where humans are this amazing, fascinating quagmire of the universe. We have all these other humanoid species that are just like us, and so when a species like this finds aliens, they're like, "Oh, look how unique you are in the galaxy." But the problem is, they've been around the galaxy, and how have they not run into one of the umpteen humanoid species that also all has imagination and sympathy and et cetera, et cetera? We keep trying to explore all these different facets of the human condition by acting like humans are like really really rare and special amongst the rest of the humanoid species, which never makes sense, especially when you get the explanation in The Chase for the fact that we're all essentially the same species seeded by another alien race in the first place.
Well, and this is a station full of different aliens. Like different humanoid aliens, and they're all also experiencing imagination.
Yeah.
And it's weird because they still make it seem like humans are special. Quark imagined.
Yeah. That's what it feels like. And a lot of those manifestations are really generic and not that interesting. Like at least use this to reveal something about these characters. Like, okay, Quark likes scantily clad chicks, big deal. Like we knew that already. Look at the Novel Girls, we know this.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. No, we didn't learn anything about anybody.
And Odo is, we don't learn anything. It's just, oh yeah, he thinks Quark should go to jail. Okay, we knew this already. Or that's funny if he does. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really bad. And you said when we were watching, you thought it was probably the worst you've seen so far.
I think this is the worst episode we watched.
I'm not going to go so far as to say it's the worst episode of the series, but it's a contender. It's probably fighting for second or third place. There's another
those other episodes have internal logic issues like this one does?
No. The only thing worse than a thing like this for me is boring.
That's totally fair.
And there is an episode or two that are, or like really super offensive morally. Or where like you have a character that's just breaking character so hard in order to like pander to the audience and make a big point.
Well, and
there's an episode that kind of does that I also really detest.
And those can be more offensive later on the show when the show's gotten good and you have a better handle on the characters.
Yeah, when you know who these people are.
Yeah, that
and
makes
it goes
sense.
against them so hard. So those are two things that I think can be worse. Like this episode is like crappy Move Along Home, right? Because Move Along Home doesn't fully make sense. Like I don't really know what's going on inside the game, but it's so much fun. You kind of throw your hands in the air. This is not that.
Yeah.
I also wanted to mention I don't understand at certain points if the baseball player is from Sisko's imagination or Jake's.
Yeah, it's real inconsistent.
But I guess because it's one of the entities, it just shows up as that, and it doesn't really matter. Maybe that's the idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's kind of strange. They do a similar thing to this in Enterprise, where they bring back the Organians from the first Klingon episode of TOS, and I'll mention the Organians later, actually, on the Mega Show. But where they possess a couple of characters on the Enterprise, and then it's revealed at the end that they're Organians, and they're just kind of watching us. That's called observer effect. This would have been better if it was like an observer effect kind of thing, where like they like kind of infiltrate our imaginations in order to study us or something. I don't know why they have to be manifest like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know that there's an episode there, but I just like it's a really weird take on the like energy beings that show up to study us.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. They did not have a handle on that.
No. This episode sucks.
Yeah, it's bad. Well, anyway, we'll see you again on the next episode of Deep Space Babylon 59, where hopefully we will talk about a couple episodes being like a little bit better than these, although the Babylon 5 episode was fine, so that makes it 1,000 times better than the Deep Space Nine episode for this week.
But we're almost done with season 1 of both these shows. We're going to have a much better time, I think, after we get past those.
If we have enough time to do it, our plan is to tackle a couple of episodes each time we do this, since we're doing the Mega Show twice a month now. This time we only had a chance to do the one because we had things going on Sunday, which is when we usually watch these. But anyway, too much inside baseball. But we do want to try to tackle these at least effectively once a week.
We want to finish the series at some point.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching, folks. We sure appreciate it. And those of you that are just watching Deep Space Babylon 59,